As Audrey said, my name's Mel Millsap. My wife's Lisa. She's 61 years old this month. I'm going to try and keep it together. Lisa, at one time, was she was very organized, and the person everybody went to when they needed things done, even at work. She was a trainer. She dealt with lots of money at one time, and at work and at home, she always took care of all of her bills and everything here. And many years ago, we're looking back and trying to figure it out, and she was diagnosed finally in 2015. She was 55, but many years prior to that, we believe the decline started, probably 10 years even prior to that. And when she started struggling at work, and she could do things that she was used to doing. I listened to a lot of this stuff that everybody was talking about, and I was just going, yep, I've seen that. Yes, I've seen that. I've heard that. Well, and learning new things became more and more difficult. And that's when she started really struggling at work, because they promoted her, and she was having a difficult time learning the things she needed to learn. And then with that came the anxiety and the depression, and her getting treated for anxiety and depression with medications. And initially, I would not go to her. I didn't think I needed to go to any of her appointments with her, because she would go see her therapist, and they would prescribe medications and send her home with, and try and treat the depression and anxiety. And as time went on, it would work for a while. Then she'd have to go back, and they would change the medication a little bit and send her home. And I would listen to this until finally one day I said, honey, I want to go in with you and talk to this therapist, because, this isn't working, and it just works temporarily. Still, it was just medication changes. She changed jobs, and that was a total disaster, because she had to learn, and that was in roughly, we're thinking back around probably 05. And it was at a bank where you can't make errors. And she was making errors. And she ended up getting fired from that job. Which really, and then it's really getting my attention. As somebody said earlier, they talked about vision changing. Her vision has gotten very poor. Losing things was brought up. She would consistently lose her keys. She would lock them in her car. Many times I'd have to drive into town, because we live out in the country, because she had locked her keys in her car. Her driving skills, I definitely noticed, started declining. She was crying a lot, and like I said, very anxious. And then friends start saying, Mel, what's up with Lisa? And all I can say is, well, the doctors just keep telling us it's anxiety and depression. And so she got fired from the bank. She tried one more job, and that didn't go well. And they're treating her for anxiety and depression, and she's staying home, and we're fine with that. She's exercising like you guys talked about. She was very good at that. She was always trying to exercise her brain, and with word searches and things like that. She ate very well, and she was social as long as she could be. And then, she went to visit. I'm going to make this short. I know I have 15 minutes. This is real quick version. She went to visit our daughter in Kansas in 2014. And she told our daughter, she said, there's something really going on here. And I need to go to the doctor. So they admitted her to an inpatient program down there to try to get to the bottom of things. And that's when things were really starting to turn around. And that was in 14 where it really started getting bad. And she came home after that. And I went and I picked her up and brought her home. And that fall she got in a really bad car accident. And that was the complete turning point where I said, come on, docs, let's get this figured out. What's going on here? And that's when she was finally diagnosed in 15 and she had those cognitive tests and all that you guys were talking about. She did really bad at them. And then we went and she had that PET scan, and that's where, those guys said, this is Alzheimer's. And like I said, that's a very quick version of it. The thing that we ran into, that because she was so darn young, I think at the time, that they weren't really thinking maybe that this could be happening. I don't know. So they were treating her for that dementia, or for the depression and the anxiety. So what happened is she lost her job. She didn't work. When she was finally diagnosed in 15, we try and get her disability. Well, she hadn't worked enough quarters to even get disability since she had gotten fired, and she stayed home just to take care of herself. So that's our quick story. That's pretty much it. And she's home today. I have a full-time caregiver coming in to take care of her during the day. Because I went back to work. I was off work for a year because of COVID, and I just went back about 8 weeks ago. And then come home and take care of her every night, and do it again tomorrow. And just try and give her a good day every day. That's what we try and do.
Well, and you talked about, Mel. Oh, I'm sorry. You talked about how it was so tough for you when I first met you, of being able to get help because of your guys' age. You were younger, you're still in the working world.
Right.
And you didn't qualify for that. So talk a little, and also I'd like you to talk a little bit about how not having a diagnosis affected your marriage. I don't think you hit on that, and we've talked a lot.
Oh, I didn't. And that too, and I'm sure everybody can attest to it, that, I mean, when you're wondering why, it seems as though they're just not listening when you're trying to have a conversation. And we all know they ask 5 minutes, 10 minutes later what you just talked about. And I would go, honey, you're just not listening, and get frustrated. And so that it definitely tough on a marriage at times, until you understand what the heck's going on. And then you realize, the depth of it, I guess. So that was tough. And as far as the no help, they're really, well, the disability thing was just a mind. I didn't understand that. I thought that would be a shoe-in for her. But the fact that she hadn't worked enough quarters, because she'd been off for so long, she didn't even qualify for that. Well, we thought we were just dealing with the depression and anxiety, when really it was getting worse over time, and she got her Alzheimer's diagnosis in 15. So with our so there was just really there's no help out there. Luckily, we have some pretty decent health insurance, but even that, didn't cover that PET scan and quite a few other things. And we just, we came up with that out of pocket.